Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you a hard truth most men don't want to hear. It's not your looks, it's not your money, and it's not your charm that makes women lose interest. It's something far more important, and most men fail at it every single time. You see, the difference between the man women forget and the man they can't stop thinking about has nothing to do with what's on the outside. It's about a rare quality that separates the unforgettable from the ordinary. And until you understand this, you will keep repeating the same mistakes that push women away without even realizing it. When it comes to relationships, to connection, and to truly winning with women, many men don't realize the very thing they fail at the most. They focus so much on how they look, how much money they have, what car they drive, or even the words they say, that they forget the real essence of what makes a woman feel drawn, secure, and alive around them. And it is here, in this very blind spot, that most men lose. They think the game is about charm, but the truth is much deeper. A woman doesn't just want to hear words. She wants to feel them. She doesn't just want you to tell her she's beautiful. She wants to feel that you see her beauty even in silence. She doesn't just want you to take her out on a fancy date. She wants to feel that, in your presence, her soul is at peace. This is where many men fail. They don't create that deep emotional resonance. They skim the surface, they perform, they impress, but they do not connect. And let me tell you something powerful. A man who understands this truth becomes unforgettable, because while the world is filled with men who try too hard, who seek validation, who scramble for attention, there are very few who stand out by their ability to make a woman feel truly seen, to make her feel that she is not just a body or a face, but a person with depth. Women can sense this. They can feel when a man is desperate for validation. They can feel when he is trying to prove himself. And they can feel when he is deeply rooted, when he does not need her to complete him, but chooses her because she adds value to his already full life. That difference is magnetic. That difference is what separates men who struggle endlessly from men who naturally attract without forcing anything. And let us speak about something else. Emotional intelligence. The ability to read the room, to sense what she's feeling without her having to explain, to notice the subtle shifts in her tone, her expressions, her silence. Many men fail because they only listen to words, but do not listen to the unsaid. A woman rarely communicates only through speech. She communicates through energy, through body language, through the pauses in between her words. The man who pays attention to this, who responds not just to what she says, but to what she feels, becomes someone she cannot easily forget. At the core of it all, it is not about manipulation. It is not about tactics. It is about authenticity. A woman can tell when you're pretending, when you're wearing a mask, when you're performing a role. But when you are authentic, when your actions match your words, when your intentions are clear and your heart is steady, she relaxes. She lets down her guard. She begins to trust because she senses that you are real. Men fail when they forget that women crave safety, not just physical safety, but emotional safety. Can she express herself without being judged? Can she show her weaknesses without being shamed? Can she lean on you without fear that you will crumble? If the answer is yes, you become the anchor she wants in her life. If the answer is no, she will drift away, no matter how attractive or successful you appear on the outside. Think about it this way. Many men see it, haze after women by showing off external things, but the truth is that the most valuable thing you can offer is peace. Peace in your presence, peace in your words, peace in the way you handle conflict, peace in the way you carry yourself. When a woman feels peaceful around you, she will crave your company, because the world outside already brings enough chaos. And this peace is built on discipline, on emotional control, on knowing yourself, on mastering your own storms so you don't pour them onto her. You see, the real failure of most men is not that they don't have enough money, not that they're not handsome enough, not that they don't say the right lines. Their real failure is that they have not learned to master themselves. They want to master women, but they have not mastered their own emotions, their own insecurities, their own fears. And until you conquer yourself, you cannot lead, you cannot protect, you cannot inspire trust. A man who has mastered himself is unshakable. He does not explode at the smallest provocation. He does not crumble under pressure. He does not lash out when he feels insecure. Instead, he remains steady, and that steadiness is what draws a woman closer. Because in that steadiness, she finds security. In that steadiness, she finds the freedom to be vulnerable. In that steadiness, she finds what so many men fail to provide. So the challenge is not to become more charming, not to memorize clever lines, not to impress with money or possessions. The challenge is to go within, to build presence, to build confidence, to build emotional intelligence, to build authenticity, to build self-mastery. Because when you do, everything else falls into place. Women will respond differently, relationships will feel lighter, and you will never again wonder why things don't work out. Because you will know deep within that you are not like most men. You will know that you have mastered the very thing most men fail at. You will know that you carry within you the rare qualities that make a woman stop, notice, and never forget. And when you understand this, you realize that your life as a man is not just about chasing relationships, but about becoming the kind of person who naturally creates them. It's about building an inner strength so solid that the world cannot shake it. Because the truth is, women are not looking for perfection. They are looking for consistency. They are not expecting you to have everything figured out, but they want to know that you are willing to grow, to learn, to take responsibility. Consistency is where most men collapse. They show up strong in the beginning, but as time goes on, their energy fades. They start by listening deeply, by paying attention, by showing genuine interest, but then they get comfortable and stop trying. They think that once they've gotten her attention, their work is done. But in reality, that's when the real work begins. It's not about winning her once, it's about continuing to win her every day, not through grand gestures, but through small, consistent actions that tell her she matters. A simple check-in when she least expects it. A look that communicates love without needing words. A willingness to show up even when it's inconvenient. These things mean more than flowers, more than expensive dinners, more than empty promises. Because consistency builds trust, and trust builds longevity. Without consistency, attraction fades, trust breaks, and the connection weakens until it disappears completely. But consistency cannot exist without discipline. And this is another area where many men fail. Discipline is not just about working out, making money, or achieving career goals. Discipline is also about how you handle your emotions, how you communicate, how you show up for the people you claim to love. A disciplined man doesn't allow himself to get carried away by jealousy, by fear, by insecurity. He knows how to pause, how to breathe, how to respire, and instead of reacting. And in that control lies a strength that women cannot ignore. Because make no mistake, a woman will test you. She will test your patience, your confidence, your steadiness. Not because she wants to see you fail, but because deep down she needs to know if you can handle the weight of being in her life. She needs to know that when storms come, and they will, you will not abandon ship. You will not collapse under pressure. You will not turn into another source of chaos in her world. She needs to know that you can stand firm. And those tests are not always spoken. They come in subtle ways, in moments where you feel triggered, where you feel challenged, where you're tempted to act out of ego. If you fail those tests, she loses trust. If you pass them, she leans in even deeper. But understand this, it's not about being perfect or never making mistakes. It's about humility. A man who is willing to admit when he's wrong, who's willing to learn, who's willing to grow, is infinitely more attractive than a man who pretends to always be right. Humility is not weakness, it's wisdom. It shows that you're grounded enough to put ego aside for the sake of connection. And women notice this. They notice when you're willing to listen, when you're willing to change, when you're willing to evolve. That humility makes them feel safe because it shows that you're not rigid, you're not prideful, you're not closed off. You're open, and openness creates space for deeper intimacy. Another mistake most men make is thinking that love is about possession. They believe that once a woman chooses them, she belongs to them. But love is not about ownership, it's about freedom. The most powerful relationships are not built on chains, but on choice. A woman must choose you every day, not because she's trapped, not because she's afraid of losing you, but because she feels that being with you elevates her. If your presence inspires her to grow, to dream bigger, to become more herself, she will never want to leave. But if your presence suffocates her, controls her, or limits her, and she will eventually break free. So the challenge is not to cage her, it's to create a space so magnetic, so nurturing, so inspiring that she never wants to go anywhere else. That is how you win without forcing. That is how you hold on to love without fear. That is how you build a bond that lasts, because it is rooted in freedom and respect. Now let's speak about passion. Passion is not just physical, it is emotional, intellectual, and spiritual. Too many men focus only on the physical, thinking that attraction is about what happens in the bedroom. But the truth is, passion starts long before that. It starts in conversation, in laughter, in the way you look into her eyes and make her feel like she's the only one in the room. It starts in the way you challenge her mind, the way you make her think, the way you share your vision for life and invite her into it. A woman wants to be inspired. She wants to feel alive. She wants to be reminded that life is more than just routine. And a man who brings passion into her world, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally, will always stand out. Passion is energy. Passion is drive. Passion is the willingness to live life fully, to dream boldly, to take risks. When you carry that energy, she feels it, and she is drawn to it like a flame. But passion without direction can burn out. This is why purpose is so important. A man without purpose is like a ship without a compass, drifting aimlessly, vulnerable to every wave. And no woman wants to attach herself to a man who doesn't know where he's going. She wants to feel that if she walks beside you, there's a destination. She wants to feel that your life is building towards something bigger. And the truth is, purpose is not about being rich or famous. It is about having clarity. It is about knowing what you stand for, what you're working towards, what your mission is in this world. When you have purpose, you walk differently. You speak differently. You carry yourself with a quiet authority that cannot be faked. You don't need to chase because your mission naturally pulls people, including women, towards you. Purpose gives you discipline. Purpose gives you strength. Purpose gives you focus. And when a woman sees a man on his path, deeply committed to something beyond himself, she feels inspired to walk with him. This is why so many men fail. They abandon their mission for women instead of staying committed to their path and inviting women into it. They make the mistake of centering their entire identity around relationships, and in doing so, they lose the very thing that made them attractive in the first place. Never forget this. Your mission comes first. Your mission gives your life meaning, and when you stay true to it, love flows naturally. Finally, understand that women are not looking for perfection. They're looking for alignment. They don't expect you to never make mistakes, but they do expect you to be real. They don't expect you to have all the answers, but they do expect you to be consistent. They don't expect you to always win, but they do expect you to never quit. When you align your actions with your words, when you align your values with your behavior, when you align your dreams with your discipline, you become rare. And in a world full of men who fail at the basics, your alignment sets you apart. Because at the end of the day, the secret is simple. Most men fail not because they lack charm, money, or looks, but because they fail to master the inner qualities that women crave the most: presence, consistency, discipline, humility, freedom, passion, purpose, and alignment. These are the qualities that turn a man into more than just another option. These are the qualities that make him unforgettable.